All right, so today I made a little non-playing character that's a helper character. So it says SimTech Gamer 7's helper. And here's a zombie, so I can go to attack mode, and I can attack the zombie, so he can protect me. And here's a dummy right here. Let's go ahead and attack him. So I thought that would be pretty cool. I'm going to leverage from another video. So if you don't watch my NPC videos, you can get my starter place right here. And this is a non-playing character that can actually wield a weapon. And that's where I'm going to start with, because this is already a long video. So hit these three dots, hit edit, and you can copy this. And then we'll have the exact same starting place. It'll make it easier for you to follow along. If you want to see how to get there, this is the video for that right here. Create an NPC that can attack with a weapon in Roblox. So let's go ahead and do that. Go ahead and hit your three dots, hit edit, and you're going to get this exact world right here. Cool. So the first thing I want to do, I'm going to put a part in the world, and I'm going to make my little billboard GUI over attackable things so I know what I can attack. So let's go ahead and hit a plus sign on our part, billboard GUI, and then I'm going to call this target GUI, target GUI, and let's put a text label on that. So while I'm still on the target GUI, I want to hit always on top, and I'm going to move it up a little bit. So I'm going to go to studs offset and hit the second number. That's the Y. Move it up 3 studs. So it's a little bit above our target. Now let's go to our text label. Let's call this object name. So it's going to be our attackable things. And I'm going to make the text label transparent. So background transparency, set it to 1. Let's change our font to bangers. I like that one. And then text, we're going to change in script. Text scaled, let's make it big. And then maybe we'll make our text color like yellow. There we go. That'll be easy to see. Now we have our target GUI. Let's move it down to starter GUI. Right? So that it's in the world. It's going to be cloned to our character, so we'll have that ability to highlight things. All right, so now I can get rid of that part. I don't need it anymore. And since we're at starter GUI, let's go ahead and add a Screen Gui. And on the Screen Gui, let's add a text button. And the text button is going to be the attack button. There we go, centered it. I'm just going to, I'll keep that transparency the same. Button name, let's change it to attack button. And we can change, I'll leave the size the same. Font, let's keep the font the same, bangers. Text, attack mode. So when that's highlighted, we're going to make it yellow when we're in attack mode. And we'll make the text scaled a little bigger. It's kind of overflowing, so let's make that. There we go. All right, so that looks good. On my Screen GUI, I'm going to add a local script, and I'm putting it on the Screen GUI level in case I want to put other buttons. So that way this local script will control all the buttons. I'm going to call this com script. That's tiny text. Let's make this bigger. So since we want to send events to our server, let's go to replicated storage and add a remote event. Let's call that remote event NPC com RE. And then let's get access to it in our com script, local, replicated storage, game, get service, replicated storage. So RS I use for the variable for replicated storage. And then I'm going to make a variable for the com remote event, communication remote event. And I'll get a replicated storage, wait for child, and then we call that NPC com RE. Cool. So this is a gateway. Replicated remote events are a gateway between the client and the server. So we need this on the script that is going to get the remote event, and that's going to be Ralph. So Ralph has this attack script, right? The attack script, we're going to get rid of almost all of it. Let's just get rid of all of it, except for these variables up on the top. Let's go from players all the way down. right? So I still have my tool stuff. I still have my bindable event for the tool swing, but we want to put our replicated storage and remote event in here. And let's continue on the attack script on Ralph, and we'll go back to the local script. Let's get him working first. So I need a variable for the spot I want to stand in. So I'm going to say my spot. So when I'm done attacking things, I can go back to it. I'll just say HRP position, so where I started. And I want a variable for stopping the attack. Stop attack. I'll say false. And I want a tag that has the owner information for the non-playing character, because I'm going to give this to everybody who enters the game. So everybody's going to have a Ralph, right? We're going to rename Ralph too. So we'll say char, wait for child. I'm going to have an owner tag. Let's go ahead and put an owner tag on Ralph. Go to Ralph, hit the plus sign, and we'll do string value. And that just says value down here. Let's call this owner. And we haven't set that value. We'll set it when we spawn into the world and then we actually have a helper. All right, so now let's do a function, local function attack, right? So we're going to get this from the client side. It's going to tell Ralph to attack. The player is going to be sent, so we know who the player is. And then we're going to do a character to attack. And the first thing we want to do is check to make sure the tag value if it does not equal the player who owns it, the player name in the tag, then we're going to return. So every Ralph is going to listen to everybody giving commands to attack, but only the one you own is going to respond. So that's going to filter out anything else that's not coming from the owner. So I'll say a stop attack will be false. We'll just initialize that because we just sent an attack signal. So we're going to say stop attack is false. We're going to do this. We're going to check to see if the character to attack actually has a value, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another condition for when this is nil, and that's going to be stopping the attack. All right, so we got somebody, we're going to go after him. Let's go ahead and do a local enemy HRP equals character to attack, find first child, that's a humanoid root part, all right? And then we'll do one for the enemy, oh my gosh, hum. There we go. Char to attack, find first child, that's the humanoid. Humanoid, I spelled that right? Yeah. All right, we're going to check to see if the humanoid exists, right? And if the hum on the NPC exists, because they might be respawning, right? We might have caught it right in the middle of a death. If those two cases are good, let's go ahead and equip our weapon. Equip tool, sword. And then we'll just wait 0.5 seconds, just a very short period of time. And then we're going to do a while loop to attack them. Right, so we'll do a while enemy hum exists and enemy hum dot health is greater than 0, and the NPC's humanoid exists and the NPC's hum health is greater than 0. And one more thing, and not stop attack, right? Do. Wow, that's long, right? Let's put this on another line. Cool. All right, so a lot of things can break that loop. We want to make sure if somebody died or somebody's respawning, the loop is broken, and the stop attack, we're going to make sure that's going to stop the attack too. All right, so we'll say we're going to get them moving, right? So we're going to say the humanoid of the NPC, we'll say move to enemy humanoid root parts position. And then we're going to pass in the second argument in case he's moving around, it'll chase him, which won't be a big deal because we're only going to wait 0.2 seconds in between iterations of this loop. All right, and then we'll have our bindable event, and that's what we're going to do, fire to make our weapon work. And I did that in the last video. This sword in this video already works on the bindable event fire. All right, so if you're having trouble with that and you just switched out the weapon, that's because I modified the weapon to work with a bindable event. So you'll have to watch the other video to see how that works. This is too long to do it all in one. All right, so after all of that, so we killed somebody, or somebody killed us. That's going to be a problem if they killed us. So we'll just wait 0.5 seconds, check to see the humanoid exists, make sure we're not respawning. If we are not, and the humanoid is in the world, we will equip our tools. All right, I'm bound to make a mistake in here, I know. All right, and then once we get to this else down here, this is going to fire, this condition is going to fire if the character to attack is nil. We might still be fighting somebody, but we sent a stop attack with a nil. Well, we're going to. And then what I'll do is I'll just say stop attack here equals true. And that'll break that loop if this is already running. Because you can call this script many times. You don't have to wait for completion. Because we're using a remote event to fire it. Or well, we will be. So we'll say com.re fire client. At the end of all of this, we're going to just pass an event to the player saying we're done. All right, and then let's go ahead and get if the humanoid's existing, we'll move to our spot, my spot. Cool. All right, so that's all we need there, except for catching the remote event from the client saying to attack. And that's where we'll catch this right here. On server event, connect, attack. And that's going to call this whole thing to get it going. All right. That looks good. Let's go to our client now. Oh, you know what? We're all done with Ralph. So let's move him to server storage. Boom, server storage. And then let's go to our client script, com script, right under Screen Gui. Let's start working on that. All right, so we have access to our remote event. And what else do we need? We need our attack button. We're going to press our attack button. Script.parent. And we have to go down one level for attack button there. We need a player, right? We need our local player. Game get service players dot local player. We need our mouse. I always spell local wrong. Local mouse equals player get mouse. We need a user input service. I'll call that UIS. Game get service user input service. We'll need a flag to see if we're in attack mode or not. So I'm going to call this attack flag. It's a little confusing because on server side I use the attack flag, but this one is just to say if we're in attack mode or not. And we'll do a target acquired flag. So we're going to initialize that to false. We need the player GUI because we want to put our little sign on things we can attack. So player, wait for child, player GUI. And then we need our, what do we call that? We call that target GUI. And that's going to highlight our enemies. Player GUI, wait for child, target GUI. Make sure we call that target GUI right here. Target GUI. That has to be spelled the same. Oh, and then one more. We're going to do a debounce. Local can attack because we're sending things to the server. We don't want to send a whole bunch of things at once. We want to have a debounce. Right. Let's do a function for the hover, and that's going to be hover. Right. I'm creative like that. So if the target is acquired, then we're just going to return. So we're not going to highlight things if we've already acquired a target. let's go ahead and get a variable for our target itself, and that's mouse target. And then we'll do an if statement, if target flag, right? So we highlighted our button so we can get a target, and target exists, and target dot parent exists. Then let's see if it has a humanoid. So we'll do local hum equals target dot parent find first child that's a humanoid. If the humanoid exists, there we go. Then let's get the tag. Remember, there's a tag on them. We haven't set it yet, but we will. Hum parent find first child owner. And we don't want him intentionally attacking us. So I'll say if tag exists and tag.value, value equals player.name, right? That's our local player. Then return end. So don't attack us if we accidentally click on ourselves when we're in attack mode. All right. And they'll say local enemy. If we get down here, we're going to declare this guy as an enemy equals hum.parent. It's going to be the character. All right, and then I'm going to get my target GUI. Adorne. I always spell that wrong. Adorne equals enemy. We're going to adorn the head of the enemy with our billboard GUI, our target GUI. Target GUI. Object name text will equal the enemy dot name. And then we'll do another target GUI variable, a property, enabled equals true. All right, so now it's highlighted. If we click mouse, button 1 down, connect, function, and if our debounce can attack is true, then let's make can attack false so we don't fire too many times. We're going to say target is acquired. That'll be true. And then we're going to send our remote event com.re fire server, and we're going to send the enemy, the character of the enemy. Cool. All right. Now down here, so if the humanoid existed, we're going to light them up with our little billboard GUI. If there's no humanoid that exists, let's make sure, let's do a else. Where should we do the else? We want to do it right here, right? We're going to turn this stuff off. There's no humanoid, so we don't want our target GUI highlighting things. Say nil. We don't need this because it's nil. And then we're going to make this false for enabled, right? And then the second case is if we don't have our attack flag on, or the target doesn't exist, or the target's parent doesn't exist, we also don't want this stuff going on. So we'll just put another else for that condition. That should work. All right, so we're looking good here. We still need to handle our button click, right, for our attack mode. Let's do that now. Let's say local function attack mode. So we're going to toggle this. So if attack flag is true, we're going to make it not attack flag, right? So whenever we hit it, it's either going to be on or off. If attack flag, then attack button, we're going to change the background color so we know we pressed it. So I'll just make that color 3 dot from RGB. I like RGB because I know the numbers. So yellow is 255, 255, and 0. And if the attack flag is off, let's go ahead and make that white. So we'll just go down here, boom, and white is 255, 255, and 255. Cool. What else we got to do? Let's see. We want to make our target acquired. Whoops. There we go. Target acquired. If I can spell. There it is. That is now false because we went out of attack mode. We're going to turn off our target acquired. Can attack. Let's make that true, right? Because now we can attack. Whoops. True. And then what else? I don't like the fact that my formatting's not working. I'm thinking maybe I missed an end somewhere. Well, we'll find out soon enough. COM-RE. Let's fire server nil, right? So we're going to send an event. We went out of attack mode. We're going to send an event with nil for the character to attack. If you'll remember, that's going to set the stop attack flag. So if we're already attacking somebody, if we hit this stop attack mode off, we're going to stop attacking them. And I'm going to check to see if I have enough ends in the right places. So I'm going to mess up my formatting here, and then I'm going to hit this format document. That's good. It'll get all kind of messed up if we have the wrong number of ends. All right, what else can I do? We need to catch the event coming back when we finished attacking. So we have COM-RE on client event connect function. We're going to make target acquired will now be false because we finished the attack, and can attack will now be true. All right, so we just reset our flags. We can put a little print statement in there too. Let's get our user input service and monitor input changed. We'll connect that to hover, right? And then that way we can hover over potential enemies, and then if we see our target GUI come up, we know we can attack them. And let's get our attack button. We'll say activated connect attack mode, right? So this attack button, ooh, get rid of those 2 extra parentheses, that'll mess you up. There we go. So that button's going to call this, which is going to set the mode, either attack mode or not attack mode. Cool. Yeah, can attack is a debounce. Yeah, that looks good. I like it. All right, so this is not foolproof. I mean, we might have a few little glitches, but it's pretty darn good. All right, so now let's spawn a Ralph into the world, right? So I moved Ralph down into server storage. When somebody enters the game, they're going to get a Ralph, right? We're going to rename them. So I'm going to call this spawner. Whoops, spawner. I spell things wrong all the time. All right, and spawner. Let's get a hold of the local server storage game get service server storage, and then we'll get Ralph, right? SS wait for child Ralph. If you called Ralph something else, you have to change that name here. This name and that name have to match. And let's do, since everybody who's entering the world is going to have a Ralph, let's change the position, the spawn location of Ralph. So I'm just going to change it a little bit on the X axis. I'll initialize that to 0. And then I'll do a local function, make Ralph. We'll do player and local Ralph clone will be Ralph : clone. So we're cloning Ralph and we're calling him Ralph clone. All right. That kind of seemed like it would make more sense, but it's a little bit confusing now. All right, so the parent has to be something in the workspace, and we can make it the workspace. We'll do Ralph clone name, and let's give it the player name ... That's a string concatenator, double quotes, single quote with apostrophe S. So it'll be the player's name's helper. That way you know who your guy is. Except when you're using the test server, now everybody's named player. All right, and then we'll do our tag. We need to get our tag, and we can get them from the Ralph clone because we put a tag on them and we called it owner. Cool, and that way we can tell, we'll be able to tell if we can attack ourselves and who's giving the directions to which Ralph. So let's say tag value will be player.name. That's important. And then we'll get our Ralph clone. We'll move to vector3.new. Let's put him at xloc, 30 studs high on the Y, so he'll drop down, and then like 10 on the Z, so he's not totally in the center of the world, but a little bit off. And then let's move our xloc 25 studs on the x-axis. But if we have our server's running a really, really long time, we could go to the end of the world. So let's say if xloc plus equals 25, 250, 200, say 200, then we'll reset xloc back to 0. Cool, and then, oh, what happened here? This should be a greater than, I'm sorry. If it's greater than. All right, now game players, when we add a player, they're gonna get a Ralph. Say connect, make Ralph. Cool. All right, let's put a zombie in the world, test it out. Go over here. We can turn this label off. We don't need that label here. We can say, where is it? There we go. Because we enable it in our script. All right, cool. Let's put a zombie out here. Here. Drooling zombie. And I'll just add him to the world. I'm going to nerf him a little bit so that he doesn't kill me right away in my demo. So let me go down to configurations, and I'll just make the damage 10. There we go. In case I'm trying to demo and it starts messing up. And let's add another one. Control D. Whoops, did I get a second one? What did I control D? Do I have two configurations? Oh, I have two damages. Darn it. All right, I'm gonna duplicate my zombie. Click zombie, control D. All right, let's play. Let's try it out. Hit play button. Go to attack mode. Go get him. Go get him. Simtech Gamer 7's helper. So sometimes he gets jammed up there a little bit. I got to get a better animation for my swing. That chopping up and down sometimes misses him. Cool. Looks like it's working. Shall we try it with a test server with 2 people? Hit start. I'll just pause this because this takes a couple seconds to start up. All right, here we go. We should be getting our game places here. And my computer's too slow. So I'll probably be dead by the time I get in there. Hopefully my Ralphs won't be dead. So this took too long to start up. I already have one helper that's dead. Let's see if I can get this one working. Drooling zombie. Oh yeah, my player's dead. Unfortunately, I should make this button go away when I'm dead. But I run around. The other guy's probably works. Attack mode. There we go. Go get him. All right. My helper killed both zombies. I'm going to kill the other player. That's pretty cool. All right. So there's a few cleanup things, like if the guy dies, you can remove this attack mode button, stuff like that. But for all in all, this works pretty well. Let me know what you think, and good luck. This is a long one.